Sarah self-study for actual TOEFL test scheduled on April 1, 2023 in New York. Sarah. Good morning. It's a new day, and I'm here to remind you that you are capable of achieving great things. No matter what challenges you may face, remember that you have the strength and resilience to overcome them. Let's study together TOEFL reading about Egyptian artists during ancient times worked and experimented with a variety or mediums. A great number of the statues and buildings produced in ancient Egypt were made of stone, wood, or metal. The most common was limestone, which was found in ample supply on the cliffs of the Nile Valley. Limestone, a soft stone, was carved into blocks for the construction of temples and tombs. Paint was usually applied to this stone as decoration. The Egyptians also used harder stones in the construction of temples and statues but left the stone its original color for symbolic effect. Black stones, based on the black silt left after the Nile River flooded each year, were representative of new life and resurrection. Stones of the colors red, orange, and yellow were closely linked to the sun, while green stones were indicative of growth. Sarah, is it difficult for you? Then, please refer to the easy sentences below, which represent the above paragraph. Ancient Egyptian artists used different things to make their art, like stone, wood, and metal. They liked to use limestone a lot because it was easy to find and carve into blocks. They usually painted on the limestone to make it look pretty. They also used other stones for symbolic reasons, black stones for new life and red, orange, yellow, and green stones for things like the sun and growth. Hey Sarah, don't forget to keep this vocabulary in your brain pocket. Mediums. Mediums refer to the materials and tools that are used by artists to create their artwork. In ancient Egypt, artists used a variety of mediums to produce their art, including stone, wood, metal, and faience. Resurrection refers to the concept of rising from the dead, or coming back to life after death. In ancient Egypt, the idea of resurrection was an important part of their religious beliefs, and was closely tied to their beliefs about the afterlife. One rectangular block of stone was normally used to produce a statue. A sense of strength and power was produced by having the stone between the arms and the body, in addition to the legs of standing or seated figures, uncut. In order to enhance this effect, the statue was often placed in front of a pillar or column. Almost all of the statues during this time were displayed with the face and the body looking forward. Referred to as frontality, this was a practice that endured over thousands of years with almost no change. These statues were not primarily created for artistic purposes, but for the rituals of gods, kings, and the deceased. Therefore, the statues were shown facing straight ahead, allowing people who visited them to get a sense of connection. Additionally, they were placed in rectangular shrines or wall niches, leaving frontality as a pragmatic display method. Sarah, is it difficult for you? Then, please refer to the easy sentences below, which represent the above paragraph. Ancient statues were made from a single block of stone and left uncut between the arms, body, and legs for a powerful effect. They all faced forward and were used for religious rituals and to honor gods, kings, and the deceased. These statues were displayed in shrines or wall niches for practical reasons. Hey Sarah, don't forget to keep this vocabulary in your brain pocket. Rectangular refers to a shape that has 4 sides and 4 right angles, with the opposite sides being equal in length. In ancient Egypt, rectangular shapes were commonly used in architecture and sculpture. Hey Sarah, this vocabulary too. Frontality refers to a technique used in ancient Egyptian art to depict figures or objects facing forward, with both arms and legs visible from the front. Hey Sarah, this vocabulary too. Shrines are small structures or places of worship that are dedicated to a deity, spirit, or ancestor. In ancient Egypt, shrines were an important part of religious practice, and were often built in temples, tombs, or other important locations. Hey Sarah, this vocabulary too. Niches are recessed areas in a wall or surface that are used to display or store objects. In ancient Egypt, niches were commonly used in architecture and tomb design. For example, niches were often carved into the walls of tombs to hold small statues or offering vessels, as well as other personal items that the deceased might need in the afterlife. Hey Sarah, this vocabulary too. Pragmatic, pragmatic. Pragmatic refers to a practical approach or way of thinking that focuses on what is realistic and achievable, rather than on what is theoretical or idealistic. In ancient Egypt, pragmatic thinking was evident in many aspects of daily life, including agriculture, architecture, and religion. Though wood was scarce in ancient Egypt, Egyptian artists were quite adept at using this particular medium. Although much of the wood was imported from Syria, artisans of the time were also accomplished at using the wood of their native land, which was often gnarled and irregular. They would first shape the wood with a chisel and then smooth down the surface by rubbing it with stones. Paint would be added after plastering the surface, although this step was often skipped with high-quality wood. It was used to build a number of skilled pieces such as furniture, chests, coffins, and even statues. Different pieces of wood were carved and put together when making wooden statues. Sarah, is it difficult for you? Then, please refer to the easy sentences below, which represent the above paragraph. Wood was rare in ancient Egypt, but they used it anyway. They got it from Syria or used the gnarled native wood. They shaped it with a chisel and smoothed it with stones. They painted it after plastering, but sometimes skipped this for high-quality wood. They used it for furniture, chests, coffins, and statues. For statues, they put different pieces of wood together. Hey Sarah, don't forget to keep this vocabulary in your brain pocket. Artisans. Artisans. Artisans are skilled craftspeople who create objects by hand. In ancient Egypt, artisans played an important role in society, producing a wide range of goods including pottery, jewelry, furniture, textiles, and sculptures. They were highly respected for their skills and were often organized into guilds or workshops. Artisans in ancient Egypt were specialized in their trade and were trained from a young age to learn the techniques and skills necessary to create their craft. Many of the most skilled artisans worked for the pharaoh or for the temple, creating objects for religious and ceremonial purposes. Artisans were an integral part of ancient Egyptian culture and played a significant role in shaping its art, technology, and economy. The work of the artisans was considered essential for the completeness and wholeness of ancient Egyptian society, and their contributions are still appreciated and admired today. Hey Sarah, this vocabulary too. Gnarled, gnarled. Gnarled refers to something that is rough, twisted, and knotty, often as a result of age or growth in difficult conditions. In ancient Egypt, wood was a valuable resource, and the native trees often grew in difficult environments such as arid desert regions or on rocky hillsides. As a result, the wood that was harvested for use in art and construction often had a gnarled or twisted appearance. Hey Sarah, this vocabulary too. Irregular, irregular. Irregular means something that is uneven or not symmetrical, and that does not conform to a specific pattern or shape. Hey Sarah, this vocabulary too. Chisel, chisel, chisel. A chisel is a hand tool that is used for cutting and shaping wood, stone, or metal. In ancient Egypt, chisels were an important tool for artisans, who used them to carve and shape a variety of materials. Hey Sarah, this vocabulary too. Plastering, plastering. Plastering refers to the process of covering a surface with a layer of plaster, which is a mixture of materials like cement, sand, and water. In ancient Egypt, plastering was commonly used to smooth the surfaces of walls, columns, and other architectural features, and to prepare them for painting or decoration. For Egyptians worked with different types of metals to produce statues, tools, jewelry, and equipment. Metal statues were produced in one of two methods. A sheet of metal was wrapped around a wooden core or the lost wax process was used. This was a process of changing a sculpture made of clay into a harder material such as metal by making two molds, one of wax and one of ceramic material. The ceramic mold was used to melt out the previous wax molding, thus the wax becoming lost as it disappears. Unlike their wooden counterparts, the arms on metal statues were frequently held away from the body so that items could be placed on each hand. Sarah, is it difficult for you? Then, please refer to the easy sentences below, which represent the above paragraph. Ancient Egyptians crafted many things from metals like statues and jewelry. They made metal statues in two ways, by wrapping metal sheets around wood or by using the lost wax process. They used this process to make metal statues by melting the clay sculpture and filling the hollow ceramic mold with metal. Metal statues usually had their arms extended so they could hold things. Hey Sarah, don't forget to keep this vocabulary in your brain pocket. Counterparts. Counterparts. Counterparts refer to people or things that are similar or equivalent in some way. In ancient Egypt, there were often counterparts in art and architecture, where objects or elements were repeated in a similar form or design. 5 Gold and silver were used for making cult statues during the time, with precious stones regularly embedded for decorative purposes. The Egyptian people believed gold to be the flesh of the gods, specifically the sun god Re, who was considered to be the most important of the gods, while the bones were composed of silver. In addition, a lunar disk that could sometimes be found on a statue was made of silver because of its association with the moon. Sarah, is it difficult for you? Then, please refer to the easy sentences below, which represent the above paragraph. In ancient Egypt, they made statues for religious purposes using gold and silver. Sometimes, they decorated the statues with pretty jewels too. The Egyptians thought that gold was the god's flesh, especially for the sun god, Re, who was very important. They believed that silver was like the god's bones. They also put a silver moon shape on some statues because it was connected to the moon. Hey Sarah, don't forget to keep this vocabulary in your brain pocket. Cult statues. Cult statue. In ancient Egypt, cult statues were statues that were created for religious purposes and were believed to be inhabited by the deity that they represented. They were usually placed inside temples and were believed to be the physical embodiment of the god or goddess. Hey Sarah, this vocabulary too. Embed. Embed. To embed something means to fix or place it firmly and securely within another material, such as embedding jewels within gold or silver. In ancient Egypt, precious stones such as emeralds, lapis lazuli, and carnelian were often embedded into gold or silver to create intricate and decorative designs. Hey Sarah, this vocabulary too. Flesh. Flesh. Flesh refers to the soft, muscular tissue that covers the bones of the body. In ancient Egyptian religion and mythology, the people believed that the gods had human-like qualities and even had flesh and bones like humans. They believed that gold represented the flesh of the gods. Hey Sarah, this vocabulary too. A lunar disk. A lunar disk. A lunar disk, also known as a lunar crescent or a crescent moon, is a symbol used to represent the moon in its crescent shape. It is a common symbol in many cultures and religions throughout history, including ancient Egyptian religion. In Egyptian mythology, the lunar disk was associated with the goddess Isis and represented her powers of fertility, motherhood, and rebirth. It was often depicted with cow horns, symbolizing her connection to Hathor, the goddess of love, beauty, and feminine joy. The lunar disk with cow horns was a popular amulet and was often worn as a symbol of protection and good fortune. 6. Another metallic substance called faience, also known as glazed composition, was commonly used by the Egyptians. Made of quartz with a glazed surface and often used as an alternative to stone, faience was employed in the production of many small objects like rings, bracelets, and ear studs due to its ability to be shaped and its wide availability. The properties of faience were also similar to those of stone, making it a natural substitute. A variety of glaze colors could be produced depending on additions to the basic mixture, but the most commonly used color was turquoise. Sarah, is it difficult for you? Then, please refer to the easy sentences below, which represent the above paragraph. The Egyptians used a shiny material called faience that was made of quartz. They used it instead of stone to make small things like jewelry because it was easy to shape and there was a lot of it. Faience was similar to stone and had a surface that was glazed. They could make different colors of glaze by adding different things, but the most common color was turquoise. Hey Sarah, don't forget to keep this vocabulary in your brain pocket. Glazed, glazed. Glazed is a term that refers to a smooth, glassy coating that is applied to the surface of an object, such as pottery, tiles, or even walls. Hey Sarah, this vocabulary too. Quartz. Quartz is a mineral that is found in many places around the world, including in ancient Egypt. It is a hard mineral that is often used in jewelry making, as well as in the production of tools, building materials, and other objects. In ancient Egypt, quartz was used to make jewelry. Okay Sarah, all done for today. Take a deep breath and focus on the present moment. Let go of any worries or negative thoughts that may be weighing you down. Instead, think about all the wonderful opportunities that await you today.